Embracer Group, the most hated video game company. I don't even know who they are.
So I gotta open this video by showing you something first. This right here is Greg Miller at the DICE Game Awards, where he said the following.
I don't know who Greg Miller is. I don't know what the DICE Game Awards is. As far as I'm concerned, any kind of award ceremony is just a bunch of people standing in a circle and patting each other on the back and saying, you did good, you did good. No, you did better. Oh yeah, I did better. We all did great. Yeah, it's just a giant circle jerk in my opinion. And look at that, some kind of girl with 15 tattoos in the wrong places. I don't know what this is about, but this looks like something I would hate.
Following.
There are two phrases everyone in this room, everyone in video games never wants to hear. And number one is, people online are mad. And
if this is Greg Miller, I don't know who he is, but I'm just gonna make a flat out assumption. He looks like the guy who's gonna be all up on Twitter about, oh, you can't harass women in the workplace, and then, you know, a year after, someone claims that he did it, and then more people claim that he did it, and he completely ignores it. Yeah, he looks like the type of guy.
Number two is, the Embracer Group is here. They've really fucked this place up, haven't they? It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that actually happened. Some king shit what Greg Miller pulled here. Honestly, game companies don't get called out enough publicly in settings where they should be called out.
Greg Miller, Simulation Technologies Inc. Oh no, that's an Asian Greg Miller. Huh. I have Miller? No, that's not even the same guy. I have no idea who Greg Miller is. Google can't even find who Greg Miller is.
We're talking about a Game Awards ceremony during a time when the people who are making those games are getting just so disrespected. The developers are getting laid off because of poor leadership decisions and all of these, like, financial corporate goals and whatnot. And right now there's no company that's being...
Bro, YongYea can't even survive a minute without saying, CEO's bad! You gotta love it. You know what? I honestly want to ask YongYea a question, okay? If CEOs are responsible for all the bad decisions and it's the CEO's fault when the inventory management system of a game is atrocious, because obviously the CEOs decided how the inventory system is gonna look, right? If it's their fault, what happens when a good game is made? You know? Will YongYea say, oh, the CEO made the good game? No, he's probably gonna say, oh, it was the developers. But YongYea, it's kind of interesting. It's literally never the developer's fault. It's always the CEO's fault. It's kind of crazy. The CEO never can do anything good, and the developers never can do anything bad. You know, the developers that we have multiple accounts of, which should be, by the way, considered as fact and baseline reality, that most of them are completely inept, completely incapable, completely talentless hacks that should be fired on the spot because they're just a waste of oxygen. You know, those developers.
As negatively talked about or as hated even as Embracer Group. Now, people thought that the guy at the end who gave Greg Miller this look when the camera cut to him was the CEO giving him a nasty look. That's what I thought as well at first, but it turns out that this individual is not in fact Lars Winchfors. This is Lars Winchfors, and he kind of looks like it could be this individual at a glance, but it turns out that the man featured in that shot right after Greg Miller made that joke is Dylan Rhodes from Nintendo Strategic Initiatives team, but so many people confused this guy for this guy, as did I, until it was pointed out to me that that's not the case. But I think Greg Miller said exactly what the games industry as a whole is feeling right now because of the way Embracer has been handling all of their...
Are you feeling it? I have heard the name Embracer Group previously, but I have no idea who they are.
studio acquisitions and all of the developers, all of the layoffs, combined with all of the cancellations and the butchering of beloved IPs. I kind of talked about what's happened recently in this video titled Publisher Embracer Face Mass Backlash After Butchering Beloved Game Studios and IPs like Deus Ex. I recommend checking that out. But the basic summary is that after Embracer Group acquired a bunch of Square Enix studios like Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Square Enix
Dude, Eidos Montreal, what have they ever done in their life?
Montreal back in May 1st, 2022, there was an initial hope that certain IPs that have remained dormant for far too long would make a resurgence, from Tomb Raider to Deus Ex to Thief to Legacy of Kain. But this acquisition has turned out to be nothing short of a disaster. Embracer relied on a $2 billion deal with Saudi Arabia that fell through, and ever since the company has been scrambling and engaging in cost-cutting measures, like canceling a Deus Ex video game that was in development for around 2 years and also laying off an unspecified number of staff at Eidos Montreal. That number would eventually be revealed to be 97 developers at Eidos Montreal.
Oh no, I'm gonna cry. A whole 87 developers from Montreal from all hell holds on earth. Oh no. Oh no. So, man, am I supposed to love this group? It sounds like they literally just canceled Vogue Disaster, because what the hell do you expect from people in Montreal to do?
So many people have been waiting for Deus Ex to return. It is a beloved franchise, but because of Embracer's mishandling, that
True. I mean, how can they mishandle it? If they acquired the studio that made Deus Ex, if they have the IP, why did the previous studio not make a new game? I don't exactly understand the issue here. It doesn't sound like they did anything bad.
project has been canceled.
Maybe they canceled it because it was shit. Deus Ex is... When was the last Deus Ex game? Forever ago? Yeah, that's exactly right. Forever ago. If they can't make a new game in all of that time, it's like, I have so many questions. Did they actually do bad by canceling this?
Now, Eidos is still functional. It is still going to go and move forward with a new project. It's going to focus on an original franchise. And I wish Eidos Montreal the best on that front, but it doesn't change the fact that this deflated hopes from Deus Ex fans that would see a brand new entry. 97
Also, didn't Deus Ex do good, actually?
people and a dead Deus Ex game. Unbelievable, says a frustrated games journalist, Paul Tassi here. Here we have Jake Baldino expressed how just utterly reckless Embracer has been with their business moves that has led to
I want to stuff Embracer in a lockers for what they've done. What they've done to working developers in a bunch of legendary game franchises. Dude, if it's such a legendary game franchise, why aren't they making games? Yeah, Deus Ex is actually legendary. True. Undisputable. But why aren't they making actually a new game? Oh, that's right, because the last... Wait, was it the last one, or what was it? But something... They completely dropped the ball and they completely destroyed themselves already, if I'm not mistaken. And no one liked it. Or am I mistaken about that? It doesn't just... It doesn't make sense. You have Deus Ex, if it's doing so good, if it's so legendary, why did they get acquired by whoever Embracer Group is? And why didn't they make a game? I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Massive damage to video games, which is exactly my sentiment, with a full scope of the damage not yet realized will be in history books. And these strong sentiments don't just come from the cancellation of one game or one round of layoffs. This comes from a repeated pattern of Embracer not being able to handle their IPs, their studios, and the development of their games. Here's an article from November 2023 that detailed how Embracer has written down 15 projects. That's on top of the fact that the company is planning future studio closures as well as buyouts. And this article details all the studios that have been shut down, from Saints Row developer Volition to...
Yeah, Saints Row completely has... Dude, Saints Row is dead. Wait. So, Saints Row literally decides to put a force multiplier in their mouth and, pull the trigger multiple times. And now it's Embracer Group's fault that Saints Row decided to off themselves? What? Bro, come on!
Campfire Cabal. There's also Free Radical Design.
Wait, what was there more? such as Borderlands maker Gearbox. Okay. I mean, and including Tomb Raider developers, Crystal Dynamics. Oh, so they developed Tomb Raider. Okay, that's nice. Knights of the Old Republic remake studio Beamdog. Yeah, a Knights of the Old Republic remake. That's gonna be amazing, probably, right? Said no one ever. And Pinball FX maker Zen. Pinball FX. Yeah, this sounds like everything I would probably honestly shut down. I mean, stopped 15 projects. Wow, big fucking deal.
There's also Free Radical Design, the beloved developers behind the Time Splitters franchise. That studio is no more, and that's on top.
No idea what the Time Splitters franchise is, and again, if they're so beloved, why haven't I heard of them? Why aren't they making a next game? Bruh, it's like, this is so stupid. This is literally just, you know, rambling on emotions. What the hell?
Of all the layoffs for currently existing studios under the Embracer umbrella, layoffs at companies including Tomb Raider developer Crystal Dynamics, Knights of the Old Republic remake studio Beamdog, and Pinball FX makers and studios, among others. And then when it comes to project cancellations, as of the publishing of this article, it was reported that 15 mainly unannounced projects have been written down across Amplifier, Freemode, Gearbox, PlayOn, Saber Interactive, and THQ Nordic. And speaking of Gearbox, it's being reported that the studio behind Borderlands may be up for sale now under Embracer. It's all just a big mess.
Borderlands has not been doing good lately, too. True. Tina's Wonderland, or whatever was the last expansion, meh. Kind of mediocrity. Okay? So, essentially, YongYea is just getting mad that Embracer Group is seemingly just canceling and closing down things that failed and no longer are relevant. Okay, I mean, I'm kind of okay with these choices.
And now we're seeing Embracer Group executives like the CEO, Lars Winchfors, come out with just the most apathetic statements about this whole situation and straight up admitting that their number one priority is the investors and the shareholders.
I don't know who Embracer's Group is, but typically when you call your organization group, yeah, they manage money, they acquire stuff, and yeah, bruh, YongYea is literally mad currently that Embracer's Group, whoever they are doing their job. They're doing their job. It's so sad. No, that's good. That's kind of good. Again, from all the things that are currently shutting down, I can't disagree with a single one of them.
Developer tweeted this out, stating,
I mean, yeah, it's sad that some of these things kind of went to hell, like Tomb Raider, Borderlands, and obviously the big one, Deus Ex. But you know, still, like, what do we want here? A repeat of Diablo 3 and 4?
In their report that Embracer says it's looking out for shareholders after cutting almost 1,400 jobs. This is an exact quote from the CEO. Our overruling principle is to always maximize shareholder value in any given situation. Now, nothing about this is shocking. I've just never heard an executive so brazenly just say this out loud. It's what we have known all this.
What do you mean? Don't you know who Goldman Sachs are, Vanguard, BlackRock, all of those things? I mean,
time that they have refused to say now being just very boldly and very clearly stated. There's no shame anymore in just outlining exactly how corporations feel about the artistry of game making, about the developers, about the...
Well, the developers are shit considering most of those franchises completely bombed for some reason. But yeah, didn't the latest Deus Ex sting? I remember the original was good, right? But then there was some kind of Deus Ex with I remember this fat dude with a robotic arm with a rocket launcher or something like that. And there was like a uproar, riot, or something like that happening. Didn't that thing completely bomb?
Customers and how little they matter compared to their ultimate goal of pleasing shareholders. Here we have the game developer article that breaks all of this down further. Scrolling down, we can see that the exact number of layoffs is 1,387, with 904 of those jobs being cut from quarter 2 and 485 of them being cut in quarter 3, equating to 8% of its total headcount.
Okay.
The company said that the restructuring program is making good progress. They call it a restructuring program, but it's just the butchering.
No, it's called the restructuring program because there's a lot of useless garbage in the company.
Of IPs, studios, and staff and developers as a result of piss poor leadership decisions and
Piss poor leadership decisions. It doesn't sound like Embracer Group was responsible for Deus Ex flopping. Okay? They just acquire shit.
investments that didn't pan out and the like. Currently, the company's trying to bring the net debt below a certain point, below $761.6 million, to boost its chances of hitting that goal. Embracer intends to pursue certain divestment processes that could significantly reduce net debt. Studio sales could be on the horizon. Negotiations are reaching mature stages, so we might see Embracer start selling off some of the studios under their umbrella, some of the studios that they've
makes sense.
acquired. We might see these studios maybe find better homes, which might be a good thing in the long term, but along the way there's
No, YongYea, that's a bad thing because evil CEOs will once again buy these studios. Like, the developers should make, like, a society, maybe communist society, and then govern themselves and do shit like that. God damn, I hate this.
no doubt that we're going to see layoffs as well. That's part of Embracer's plan to divest in aspects of their company. And yeah, right here we have the quote of how the overruling principle is to always maximize shareholder value in any given situation. This was in regards to being asked about
What's wrong with that? That essentially means we make good products. We make good games. That's what it means.
the job cuts and potential divestments that they've been engaging in. This is how Embracer feels about job cuts. There's no empathy at display for all the human lives that have been upended, who have lost their jobs and who relied on Embracer to
Like, YongYea is so blatantly, uneducated that he doesn't understand the simple principle. Here's a company, 5,000 people. They have a bloat of 1,000 people. They could cut them, and that would make everything better. Or they could keep them and after 2 or 3 years fire everyone and close down. I mean, dude.
to be good employers, only to be met with severe disappointment. Maximize shareholder value. That's the overruling principle above all else.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear.
Screw the human element. Screw empathy. Screw looking out for the workers. Again, nothing surprising here. Nothing newsworthy. We've always known this. But to hear them just brazenly say it out loud, once again highlights just how little corporations actually care about just having some frickin' humanity. Now, they insist that we have great assets and IPs, and we aim to demonstrate the earnings power of those assets over time. But not only do people who are fans of IPs that belong to Embracer fear for those IPs after seeing how things have been going down at the company, their emphasis on the earning power of those assets over time.
Those companies that are doing good and making good games, they don't fear anything at all. I can tell you that for a fact.
Just doesn't bode well for me. It's just such corporate speak and doesn't seem to really be acknowledging the artistic merits of what these games can produce and how those artistic merits can pave the road to profitability, because you're selling just games.
Didn't they already do that? Make artistic merits with, people who were bad at it and then the games flopped? Aren't they exactly in the situation because what you described that they should do, Yong?
Games are really well made and fun. That's not the emphasis here. Combined with the fact that they're looking for projects that are being developed under the Embracer banner to double or triple Embracer's investment. And for those projects who didn't meet the criteria of potentially doubling or tripling Embracer's investment based on, I guess, leadership's projection, those projects were shuttered as a result. And look, making games is ultimately a business. I get that games have to make money for a company or corporation to continue operations, but
I'm gonna press X to doubt that. I'm not sure YongYea has any clue how anything works in life. I'm pretty much sure he only thinks communism works.
There has to be a balance that's
Oh,
struck
boy.
between the business side of things and the creation side of things. And when there's so much energy strictly put on business and numbers and all these things, and not, nurturing game studios and developers and the artistry of game making, it's like you lose the plot.
You can't nurture a plant if it's dead. You can't nurture a plant in bad soil. You can't nurture anything while it's dying. Okay? You need to cut away at the things that are killing it first, and then you can talk about nurturing.
Plot. You get these unrealistic expectations that if they're not met, then, a project is screwed and its staff gets to pay for it.
Unrealistic expectations. Make good game, unrealistic expectation. That's what he's saying. Because if you make bad game, there should be no consequences. Everyone, in fact, gets a raise. Everyone gets a vacation to the Bahamas. And you know what? Next 3 years of work canceled. Everyone can just do whatever they want. Yeah, that's his idea of fairness.
It just eliminates any sort of creative autonomy for developers to really be able to explore their creativity and come up with something that pushes the boundaries creatively, artistically, and that kind of stuff, the boundary pushing stuff, is what generates, a lot of money, especially when it hits just right, when it happens to have mass market appeal. Instead of it being,
no one needs to push boundaries to make stuff sell. Look at Palworld. It literally chose intentionally to not push a single boundary, in fact, okay? The biggest boundary that they're pushing is getting sued by Nintendo. That is the only boundary they're pushing, and they're not happy about that one, okay? Palworld just literally decided to not push any boundaries and just put in things into a game that people like. Same now with Helldivers 2. What kind of magical boundaries are they pushing? None. Pretty much none. Except the way that the planet thing works and whatnot. That's kind of technically new-ish. This is the first time, as far as I know, it's done in real time, but that's it. They don't push any other boundaries. Zero.
Trend chasers and stuff like that, which is what an environment like this paves road for, trend chasing. This is the kind of stuff that discourages experimentation because leadership have a certain mindset when it comes to, what's going to double or triple their investments instead of just allowing the fun of a game and its creativity to speak for itself and let the people decide based on the output of quality and just the excitement of something unique about your games and products, how well a game does. The fact of the matter,
That's so blatantly stupid, by the way. I just can't, okay? That's so stupid. He's essentially saying, oh, every studio should gamble with their futures. Bro, 5 minutes ago you were up in arms about evil companies letting go of people because that's bad. And now you're literally telling studios, you must gamble with your future and the livelihood of everyone working here because we need innovation. You must push it's a miracle. This man is a miracle.
Is that if you make something so cool, something so fun, and something so unique, or something that does a certain genre so well and kind of a cut above what already exists, then people will rush to buy that product, that game. They will play that game. And building a certain level of audience loyalty and nurturing developers along the way and creating loyalty across the board, that's what paves the road to long-term success, not this sort of...
No, it doesn't. Look, dude, it doesn't. It doesn't necessarily do that. Look at Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. They had a loyal audience of people who liked Arkham games, and what happens when they do a new game? A game that, does not follow the Gotham Arkham style Batman stuff? Their fans wanted them gone. Their fans were pissed. Their fans actively told people to not buy their game because it's not another Batman Gotham game. You made good Batman Gotham games, now you make something different? How dare you? How dare you make something different? See, this is what loyalty got those people. Now, Suicide Squad Killed Justice League is absolute garbage, though, at the end of the day, so who cares? But, You see, that's an example of loyalty that completely backfired.
Mentality of, you know, short-term doubling, tripling of investments. And so many developers under Embracer are going to work in an environment of fear, and the morale is going to be low because of just how many projects seem to get canceled under this company. So right here is a report from February 15th, 2024, just yesterday, from Video Games Chronicle, that reads, Embracer canceled 29 unannounced games between July and December, and also it has seen 7 internal studios closed. That's 29 game cancellations within a 6-month period. It is just unprecedented. Like, yes, game cancellations do happen from time to time, but at
game cancellations happen all the time, as far as I know.
The rate that it's going within Embracer, it's just, I don't know how this is sustainable. I don't know how you can work on a game and spend
they're doing this to be sustainable
and months and years on it when there's this fear of Embracer coming in and chopping the head of that project off, constantly looming, given the frequency and rate at which this happens under this specific company. The article breaks it down further. During its first fiscal quarter that ended in June, it had 153 unannounced games in development across internal studios and external studios. That number dropped to 124 in its third quarter that ended in December. And then when it comes to the 1,387 job cut.
Okay, so this is, by the way, man, they didn't even cut that much, honestly. Because think about it, you have 150 games planned, and you're telling me only 28 of those games were horrible garbage?
800.
Kind of hard to believe only so many games were horrible, okay? So they're not even cutting that much.
71 of those were internal game developers, a significant majority. 252 were internal non-developers and 264 external developers. And then when it comes to game studios, we went from 139 internal game studios to 132, and from 59 external game studios to 50 external development studios. That's all within just the last few months.
Wait, what? And working with external development studios down from... Okay, well, who cares?
That's all within just the last few months. To call this a shit show would be an understatement. And then
shut up, Yong. You're embarrassing yourself. Anyway, I think I'm done. Man, Yong's on a spree. CEO's bad. Get a job, Yang. Bro, also, in one video, someone wrote a comment. Yong has a real job. He's a voice artist. That's his real job. He's a voice actor. Please, just leave. Anyway, this was Quizzer Said. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye bye.